We're back at you with another episode of Inside Athletics brought to you by the IAAF. I'm your host, Atto Bolden. My guest today is Chelsea fan extraordinaire, Calabar alum. He was the bronze medalist in the Olympic Games in 2012, and then last year at the World Championships, he got silver in the 200 meters. Warren Weir, nice to have you on the program.
Thanks.
So let me ask you first of all, okay, so I know World Cup starting today. Who wins the World Cup?
Brazil.
Brazil.
Samba.
Samba. How sure are you about that?
When you're home, nothing beats home spirit.
You had one of my favorite moments of the 2012 Olympic Games where Bolt crosses the line first, Blake crosses the line in second, and they don't even realize it, but you, the sort of unknown at the time, young training partner of theirs, crosses the line in third. Tell me what you remember about that race and in that moment realizing that you had become an Olympic bronze medalist.
I remember coming home in the home stretch. Both times Blake were out there, myself and I think Spearman was in striking distance, and it was just me to help my farm and go across. But from where I was in lane 8, so I could not judge if I came third. So I saw Blake and Bolt cross the line, and they ran to the middle of the corner and they were celebrating, and I had to wait for the replay, but not only the replay, I had to wait for the official on the scoreboard to see the places. And when I saw the places, I ran over to them and let them know, like, yo, I came third. And I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to celebrate too early. I've seen so many people celebrate. And
it happens, yes.
So I wanted to make sure that I was the one who came third, and I want to see it on the scoreboard. I want to see it there for like 2 seconds until I actually reacted. So yeah.
Now you train with the 2 fastest men in history in both the 100 and the 200. That had to be intimidating your first day in practice when you show up to practice with those two. Tell me about what you remember about your first day showing up to practice with them.
Well, my first day, it wasn't really intimidating for me because it wasn't as if I wasn't around Bolt or Blake.
Right.
Both was always inspired me from a tender stage in high school. When I had a stress fracture at the Gibson Relays, Bolt was there to say, why did you run? You know, had a stress fracture. And I used to compete with Blake at the high school level, so it wasn't really pressure, and it was just like a blessing to say that I'm actually training with some great sprinters. So it wasn't really pressure, it was encouraging.
Now I envy you sometimes because I see how much you are active on social media. Now I'm active on social media as well, but I never got to be, social media didn't exist when I was an athlete. Tell me what role the whole Twitter thing plays in your career, because it almost seems to me, obviously I follow you, it almost seems to me like that is your therapy, especially when things get hectic and you're getting ready for the Worlds and the Olympics. You seem more active when those times come around on social media.
Well, for me, even before the Olympic Games, I was always active on social media, and I didn't make Olympics or the World Champs change my feeds on social media. I love to share pictures, words, and I am somewhat a comedian or so.
Yeah.
I think when people laugh, I'm happy. Once I can get people to be laughing or smiling or making their day, I'm happy. So it's all about sharing the joy I feel. It doesn't make sense you have an idea and you keep it within yourself and laugh within yourself. You look crazy. So why not make the world laugh with you? So yeah.
Now you said that even when you were in high school, you had befriended people like Usain and were getting counseling from them. Now that you're a professional athlete and you have athletes looking up to you, tell me what has been your discovery. What have you discovered about being pro that you couldn't possibly have known back when you were a Calabar high school student?
It's more than what you think. Being pro is a lot more
challenging.
More challenging, it's harder, and people expect you to be at your A game every single day. If
especially if you have Jamaica and you're on the front of your chest.
Yeah, if you have Jamaica at the front of your chest and you came 1, 2, 3 when nobody even knew you were at your first international games, senior games, people expect you to be a driving force at every single championship. People expect you to be on the podium every single championship at every single level. So it's a big pressuring, but that pressure is also good.
In May of this year, you became, for the very first time, a world record holder in the 4x2 at the World Relay Championships in the Bahamas. Tell me what that's like, having a world record next to your name. I will never know what that feels like. Tell me what that feels like, and tell me about what you remember about your experience in the Bahamas and that amazing crowd.
Well, before I went to the Bahamas and I found out that there was a 4x2.
And that's your event. You know, people should know that you run the 100 and the 200, but the 200 is by far your better event.
Yeah. When I found out that there would be a world relays and the 4x2, I said to the guys, listen, you guys are beating with world records, have none. 36 is a very fast time.
Yes.
9.5 is a very fast time. 19.19 is a very fast time. And I'm very realistic. So here what? We're going to Bahamas and I'm going to put my name on one of those records. And we did it, and it was just a lot of joy to know that we did it in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So as much as it wasn't Jamaica, it was the Caribbean, because once you're from the Caribbean, and anywhere you go into the Caribbean, people will cheer you on. Doesn't matter which part of the Caribbean you're from. When the Olympic Game is being run, people are cheering for the Caribbean and not only Jamaica. When Blake won, people are cheering from every part of the Caribbean. So just to win in the Bahamas, it was between in your backyard and a world record. It was an amazing feeling.
I've had this conversation with several Jamaican stars, including Johan Blake and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. You guys are doing something different now, where you don't automatically follow the path of great high school career, maybe win champs, and then accept a scholarship and head off to the United States, and then in 4 years hopefully you come back and you still have, you know, some fuel left in your body. You're another example of somebody who stayed at home and, you know, Olympic bronze in 2012 and world championship silver and a world record in the last, you know, just in the last 2 years. What is it that what advice would you give to somebody now who is maybe not from Jamaica, from another island or from somewhere else, and they have the decision to make, okay, am I going to turn pro right now, or am I going to accept that scholarship and run for a university for 4 years? What would your guiding advice be to them?
I would say, God forbid, don't follow your parents.
Don't follow your parents.
Why? The parents, yes, tend to want for you to go to college, get a job, but the reality is nobody is leaving their job so you can get a new job. So the people who are in the big shot jobs, they're not leaving, so there's no space for people to get new jobs. So follow your heart. If you know that you are good and you are determined and you are focus on your talent, because school will always be there. School will always be there, but you're not going to be fit all the days of your life. And I'm sure when you disobey your parents for that one moment, and you're carrying in the bread and butter to say, they will forget about you when you disobey them. I'm sure if a mother...
Has that been your experience?
Well, my mother was always supportive, and she always asked me what I wanted to do, and I could have went to LSU because Debbie and Paris is actually my cousin. Right. So I didn't want to go to LSU. I said, I'll stay home, and I went to UTEC for like 2 years, and I took leave of absence. And I said, listen, I'm going to focus on track and field so hard and make it work. Right. So I put everything into track and field, and it worked. And I encourage people to know what you want. If you want to go to school, don't make anybody discouraged from going to school. If you want to focus on your talent, focus on your talent. But be very realistic. Be very, very realistic about anything you want to do.
Now, you said that one of the things that you pride yourself on is making people laugh. You fancy yourself a bit of a comedian, certainly on Twitter. So tell me, 3 funniest men or women of all time. Who are the 3 greatest comedians of all time in your opinion?
To me, no specific order.
No, okay, no specific order. Okay.
Kevin Hart. Dave Chappelle. And to say 3 is a lot, but to say 3 is a little. But Cat Williams.
Now, your personal best do not match. Usually, you have the guy who runs the 100, but then when you double it, you don't get his 200. You're the exact opposite. You've run 19.79 for 200, one of the fastest times ever. Actually, right behind me. So I almost have an incentive for you not improving and passing me on the list. But yet you haven't broken 10 in the 100. And I thought last year you were going to do it. What is stopping you thus far from being a sub-10 sprinter in an era where it seems like everybody runs sub-10 now?
Well,
What's taking you so long?
Well, last year I only ran 100 in the past 2 years. So I've run 100 for like 2 years, and coach says I run 100 and I run 10:02. But and then this year I kind of run more 100. But when you're focusing on an event, you tend to, the mind kind of play a lot of tricks on you. So I run like 3 200. I run 10:3 in one. I fall started, and then I run 10:3 in the other one. So it was just me to just really focus on having fun instead of focusing on 100. So I think I'll get it pretty soon, but there's no rush to it. I want to just enjoy the sport and then catch the world off guard again with a sub-10. But I'm not rushing it. Maybe one day I'll just pop up randomly on 100 and be ready to go crazy again.
Wouldn't surprise me. The Jamaican 4x4 has a great legacy, certainly on the men's side, world record holders, etc. It seems to me, watching you run 200, that if you guys could get your act together, and I say you guys as in the Jamaican quarter milers, would you be interested in running on the 4x4 if it would mean another world championship or Olympic medal?
Most definitely. Nobody wants to turn in a medal. But I would run on a team if they're not focusing on really competing at a high level.
Well, I mean, you guys are silver medalists from the World Championship last year.
Yeah, we are, but the thing is, the 4x4 team is that they kind of fluctuate. When you see the 4x1 team and you see the same guys over and over,
consistent.
You're always seeing different people for the 4x4, so it's not really a structured team. So more, if I was going to get a run on the 4x4 team with a solid team, definitely I'll be there.
Now, there are a lot of guys who look like Blake, for example, where they're like, you know, muscular. Nobody would look at you and say, oh yeah, this guy, you know, this guy is killing it in the weight room. So I want you to talk to all the skinny sprinters out there who look at you and idolize you and say, hey, this guy's body looks just like me. Do you have the same program as a guy like Johan?
We do have the same program, but it's just what you're lifting.
Right.
I'm squatting just as much as Blake.
Really?
Doesn't show, but I'm squatting just as much as Blake. I don't really love the bench press.
Right.
So when I'm bench pressing,
overrated for sprinters, by the way. Very overrated for sprinters.
When I'm doing the bench press, I have somebody there guiding me. When I'm doing the squat, there's nothing. The only person guiding me is just up and down, but there's no actual help. So I don't really like the bench press. I wish there was some substitute for the bench press and for push-up. But I'm a squat. If the legs are powerful and the hands are semi-powerful, you'll get there. And bulk is not necessarily much. Less is more.
Well, Warren, I think you're a breath of fresh air in a very serious, sometimes, sprint scene. So I enjoy following you on Twitter, and I'm sure your fans do. If you don't follow this young man on Twitter, Warren Weir of Jamaica, we wish you all success in the future.
Thank you very much. All right.